So there we go. Boom. 3 types of menus that artists need. You need a booking menu. You need a performance menu. And that's just for you to know, right? Nobody else needs to know that. And then you need a merchandise menu. So the first menu is going to be when people want to book you. What are the 3 different ways, amounts of time that they can book you for? 15-minute set, 40-minute set, 90-minute set. And then for your personal menu is when you do your feature set. All right, boom, if I'm doing 20 minutes, I'm going to do 3 poems and I'm going to talk. And then you want to have a menu when it comes to your merchandise table. So when people come through and they decide that they want to purchase something, they can decide quickly, simply because they're looking at your table and they see your menu is already set. You are now listening to The UnStarving Artist, the show where we help poets and performers alike discover different ways to eat off of their art and make a career of their craft. We're kind of like the craft services for service craftsmen of the microphone. I'm your host, Brandon Alexander Williams, and right now the mic is on. Yo, what's good? Welcome to episode 37 of The UnStarving Artist. I'm your host, Brandon Alexander Williams. Today we're going to talk about menus. I think it's very important for artists to have menus so that when somebody reaches out to you to book you, you can kind of give them options. And now I suggest right off the bat, you give three options on a menu. At least 3. 1 isn't enough, and 2 gives people anxiety to where they're like, I choose this one or that one, vanilla or chocolate. And a lot of times when we have to choose one or the other, we feel kind of like cushioned and pushed in. Not cushioned, we feel pushed in and obligated to choose one or the other. But the number of 3 always does well. It does well with the options, because it's like, okay, I get to choose this, that, or the third. And so I think every artist should have a 3-item menu at the very least. At the most, I think every artist should have I'll say a 6-item menu. So the first 3 would be like 15 to 20 minute set. All right, that's like a quick feature. If somebody wants to add you as an opener on a show, you give them like a price for 15, 20 minutes. I think the second price should be like a 40-minute set, right? That's like a feature co-headliner / headliner. And then number 3 would be a 60-minute set, 60 to 90 minute. And the reason why I say that is that, you wouldn't spend an hour and a half on stage. Not a lot of people can do that. But with the 90-minute set, what you would offer is, hey, before the show starts, I'll do a 30-minute writing workshop with anybody that's there for free. That way you kind of gather some artists that are local, at the school or at the university that want to participate in some creative writing that they can test out at the open mic that you're getting ready to feature at. And so that goes over well with universities and schools, middle schools, high schools, and the like. So those top 3 items, I think every poet should have those. Every artist should have those. Once you get beyond that, you kind of get into the mindset of a caterer. So like some restaurants are primarily restaurants, but they also do catering, right? So if you look at the menu, they might show you a bunch of different items, but then on the back page, they might say, hey, if you want to do, order this in bulk, give us a call. Or, they might put their catering prices out there. So they might say, this much for a whole pan of chicken, half pan of chicken. So that when they work with like wedding parties and things of that nature, they kind of get in on the catering game. And so you as an artist, you have to have those bulk prices kind of like on deck, or release an algorithm for them, right? You want to come up with some type of equation that makes sense to you. So, hypothetically, if you charge $500 for a 15 to 20 minute set, then if somebody hires you to do, a series of workshops for 12 weeks, twice a week, you want to charge well more than $2,000. You know what I'm saying? Because even though you're spending more time there, you want to give people kind of like a discount, but you also want to pay yourself, and you don't want to shortchange yourself while you moving through these streets as a full-time artist. You don't want to end up taking a $1,500 payment, and you did a 8-week course. You did 8 different sessions, and 8 hours a pop. That math don't add up. You're kind of selling yourself short. But I will say this. I won't lie. Early on, when I was kind of getting into schools and establishing my own agreements, I did kind of give grand discounts, just so I can kind of get in there and get the experience. Because I knew how to write poetry and I knew how to teach it, but I knew that I would be challenged with different ways of writing and just learning different ways of the school system. Because, if you get into a school to teach creative writing after school, it's better for the students, and you get the experience as a teacher, which makes you a better writer and performer and an MC. And then when graduation comes, that's when the school reaches out to you like, hey, could you do a poem at the graduation? And then that turns into more gigs, right? That turns into more speaking engagements, more classes, so on and so forth. So when it comes to having a menu, the biggest thing is that when you have like at least three items on the menu, it's like if somebody walks into your store, they can decide quickly. If you say we get hamburgers, hot dogs, catfish, that's it. They're like, dang, y'all ain't got no wings. We got hamburgers, hot dogs, catfish. That's it. At that point, that person can decide if they want to leave and go to another store or they're going to pick one, And so they might even see other people or hear about other people ordering at your store and decide based off of that. What do people usually get? Well, they usually get the catfish. All right, cool. Well, I don't eat seafood, so I'm going to just go with the hamburger. Boom. So, boom. Hamburger, hot dog, catfish. That's just like your top three items. And so it's set or less, then you can, decide to prorate your price. Or you could decide like, hey, this is just the minimum. Up to this amount, this is the price no matter what. So if you got me, you might as well let me perform longer or have me at the beginning of the program and then at the end. Or beginning, middle, end, space me out. And so that kind of works better for the upsell because they might say, all right, I might as well get the bang for my buck instead of, just only having you perform once. And so here's an example. So boom, let's say such and such open mic in Dallas, Texas. They reach out to you and they say, hey, we saw you performing on Right About Now and on Def Poetry and on Button Poetry. And we seen you at the Slam at Rust Belt. And we want to book you for a 20-minute feature. And so you might say, all right, well, these are my prices. Of course, this is via email. This isn't over the phone, right? I don't do any business over the phone. I do follow-up business over the phone, right? Or I talk about details over the phone. However, when it comes to actual money and me closing some type of deal, that always happens via email. Because even if we talk on the phone, first we have to get on black and white at some point in time, right? We got to get on paper. So let's say such and such open mic in Dallas, Texas reaches out and they say, hey, we want to book you for a 15-minute set. And so you let them know, all right, this is how much it is for 15 and 20 minutes. This is how much for 40. This is how much for 90. Now, somebody might say, hey, they didn't ask you for those other prices. I don't care if they didn't ask. They're going to know what the other prices are. Once again, it's important for people to see the number of three, right? So that they can kind of compare. They might look at the other items on the menu and decide, you know what, actually, let's do a 40-minute set. Or let's do a workshop with the feature, Or they might create some type of a hybrid of like the first and the second option. They might say, hey, let's just do a 20-minute set and a 30-minute workshop, or a 20-minute set and an hour workshop. And you might grant them some type of discount. So let's say your 15 and 20-minute price is $500. You're like, all right, cool. For 15 and 20 minutes, it's $500 all inclusive. That includes travel and lodging for me to get to your city. And then you say, all right, if you want 40 minutes or more, that is, $800 all inclusive travel and lodging to get to your city and perform. And then if somebody wants to book you for 90 minutes, then that's going to be $1,200. Right. So let's say those are your three prices. $500, $800, $1,200. And from there, you tell them everything that they get and however they want to work it out. And so when they're able to see those three menu items, just like I said before with the metaphor of the, hot dogs, hamburgers, and catfish, they can kind of choose in there. They could decide, let me do a combination of this. Let me get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But it helps the deal happen better. And this is much easier and quicker than somebody reaching out and saying, how much for a 30-minute set? And you're like, how much y'all normally pay artists? Big no-no. That's a big no-no. Because you get a mixed bag of responses. Some people may never tell you. Somebody may tell you. But the truth of the matter is that when you ask that question, you're trying to compare yourself to a phantom artist that they might or might not tell you about. 2, they could lie about the rate. There's no way of you knowing it. And 3, that's just tacky, right? So don't just, when somebody reaches out to you to book you, don't ask them how much do you usually pay artists. All right. I don't care how cool you are with the person. It's just a bad business practice. Very poor business practice. So when they reach out to you, you give them a price. That's just like somebody walking into your restaurant. Here's the metaphor, right? Somebody walking into your restaurant or your food truck, and your food truck says tacos, and you're like, And you walk up and you say, how much are the tacos? And they say, how much do you normally pay people that you buy tacos from? All right? You would look at the food truck dude like he was slow. You know what I'm saying? And so it's important for you to say your price, and that way they can decide if they want to shop there or not. And then the transaction happens way smoother. Matter of fact, if you keeping that same metaphor going, if you walked up to a food truck that said tacos and you said, how much are the tacos? And they responded back to you and said, how much do you normally pay for food truck tacos? They might walk away. They might be like, yeah, I don't even know if I want to buy no food from here, right? Because the business is all over the place. And so that's one big thing, a big start for artists to have your menu. And I don't recommend that you post your menu anywhere. You just kind of have it for yourself, and you kind of share it once people are in your inbox and they're trying to book you. That's when you let them get that menu and they can look over it. But you don't post it, on social media. Hey, this is my menu. This is how much I cost for a 15-minute set. It just doesn't work like that. And once again, if you post it that way, then people will try to pigeonhole you by that price forever. And so for you as an artist, your price is going to fluctuate. I challenge every artist to give themselves a raise every 9 months. Your price is going to change, man. It's going to I remember once upon a time I was getting paid $100 to do a feature. Those days are long gone. And so the price went up. And so guess what? The amount of people who could afford it went down, but that's okay because I'm doing a less amount of shows and I'm able to relax. I'm able to write. I'm able to kind of sit back and map out my next plan of action, to make a living, and to continue to make a living. I'm thankful. I thank God that I'm able to make a living off my art. And that's what I want to help a lot of artists do. That's why I started the UnStarving Artist. And so, The biggest thing, once again, about not having a menu is that it says, I wrote a poem about it. And so I'm going to read it to you guys. I'm not going to fully perform it though, because I don't feel like it. So I say, every artist needs a menu. Not having one is the equivalent of setting up shop at a busy market with a little bit of merchandise and a cursive sign that says, I don't know my worth yet, which translates to potential buyers as, I'm a super fire hire, but maybe I don't know my verse yet. I got bars, but I'm unprofessional, so don't consider. I don't deliver, only carry out. That is, if we got that item left, the one that everybody want, but we always out of. Oh, your shake machine down. It's always down. Why don't you fix it? Get your chips lit. You could have made at least $500 off of books at that sold out event with the crowd of 400. You made a big bad decision. You dropped the ball in advance with mad precision. Get this. You could have called your mans print this or go to kdp.amazon.com with a wish list. Anytime your folk don't know how to support you, that's your fault. For your career, that's not safe. No vault. You got to make it easy access. Don't put that well thought out dope ass product in a measly package. When it comes to business, it's supply and demand. And people won't boycott bad art. They'll just laugh at it, which is a form of entertainment attached to a bag with it. I'm just saying, bruh, don't go home with inventory intended to sell. Walking home salty with a surplus and you want to curse us because they ain't booking you. Look at you. You ain't even got a catalog for me to be looking through. Give me a menu. Don't walk up to my table talking about I can make whatever you want or whatever you got a taste for. Bruh, you just gave the customer a job that they ain't even getting paid for. Why they got to rearrange for? We want the finished package. Don't nickel and dime us to death to get it cracking. Give us the specialty. Whatever you do the best. We want a whole lot of that. And we want a whole lot of stat. Or else we just gonna eat it another place. I featured in DC once and had no merch. Then I was sick when I saw a vet hit the open mic before me and sell damn near 20 pieces of merch as I gave people my Instagram name. And that's that piece. So, artists, it's important that you have a menu simply so that, like I say, people can come in your store, they can purchase, and they can leave. You don't want to have too many items on the menu because the more items increases the amount of time that people have to look, which increases the amount of time that people have to decide before they actually make a purchase. And sometimes, time is money. So sometimes people can. You ever been at a restaurant and looked over the menu so long that you're like, oh, you got sidetracked. You figured out something else to do, and you're like, oh, we'll come back. Versus going to a spot that you've been to before or that you haven't been to and it only has 3 items, you're gonna decide really quick. Even if you're not hungry sometimes, or even if you got a taste for something else, you might think, you know what, let me just get this right now because it's quick. They probably have it available, or they could probably get it done quick. Like, all of these things go through the consumer's heads. And so this is different types of like advertising psychology that is pretty common, or so I thought, right? And so, they say common sense is also common. This isn't necessarily common sense, but like I say, this is basic like advertising and marketing, like 101, 102 stuff. And so I want you to keep that in mind, poets, as you listen to this, as you go through life and you show up at an open mic, or you decide that you're going to attend an open mic, always have merchandise on you, man. Like, selling out isn't the key, because if you sell out, that means that if another show is coming up, you can't be equipped for that. And so, prime example, I'm going to Houston, and I got a feature set there right about now. Now, I know that they have a big following, and they also have a big crowd when it comes to their open mics. I also know that they've been doing virtual open mics since the pandemic kicked off, and that now that they're back in, in person, it's going to be pretty packed. I anticipated to be there, so I'm going to show up with no less than like 80 pieces of merchandise, of books, of shirts, and because that's how I kind of do. I think the venue seats maybe like 100 people or more, and so I estimate that the vast majority of those folks I'm going to sell books to, right? So all of this is like a process beforehand. And so my menu, when I'm performing at the spot, now I got a different menu, right? Because the first menu I talked about was like, if somebody wants to book you. Now, this menu is going to be my merchandise table. I want to have at least 3 items all the time, right? So I got 2 books and I got a shirt. So I got She Calls Me Mr. Right, a collection of poems, stories, and raps, all my stuff. Then I got the Black Love Mixtape, which is an anthology of me and 72 other poets. And then I have a T-shirt. So I got 3 items. So when they come to my table, they can decide. I can get the book, I can get the other book, or I can get the shirt, or I can get 2, or I can get all 3, right? And so what I do is I offer discounts that serve as like an upsell. So, the first book, $25. All right, for She Calls Me Mr. Right, this one's $25. The red book, the red one, though, know what I'm talking about. The red book, the Black Love Mixtape, that's $30. All right, $5 more. And the T-shirt is $25 as well. So I tell them any 2 items you get $5 off. You get 3 items, you get $10 off. All right, so boom, if you get 2 books, two of Mr. Wright's, which totals out to $50, I'll give it to you for $45. And so people keep that in mind. It's like, 9 times out of 10, if they already formed a line after the performance, right, and you did a good job, they're going to already be mentally set in the mood to buy. So when you give them the discount, that just makes them even more gracious and thankful that, oh man, I appreciate you like showing me love because I bought more than 1 item. And so that's how I set up my menu when it comes to like being at actual shows. I always put at least 3 items out. I wouldn't put more than 5 on the table, especially if it's different types of things. So, I get it. If you got a bunch of T-shirts, if you got 20 of them on there, then people can kind of like browse. But if you're looking for the quick sale, I would go with your top 3 items. Whatever the top 3 best-selling joints are, based on your experience, those are the 3 joints that I would have, and that's how your menu should be set up. The smaller menu, the more concise of a menu that you have, the quicker the transaction can occur. And the quicker the transaction can occur, the quicker you can get customers to and from your table. So once a line forms, think about it. You're that 7th person in line. You look up at the table. You want to support the artist, but let's say that artist has 10 different items on the table. You might think twice about waiting in line to buy it because you know that everybody before you has to look at each of the 10 items before they decide if they want 1 or all 10 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. You see what I'm saying? But if it's 3, they can decide. They can decide as they're kind of like looking at the table from afar. They can decide, do I want the red book, the other book, or the T-shirt? I think I'm going to get the book and the T-shirt. Yeah, I'm going to get the red book and the T-shirt. No, I'm going to get both books. I don't really like shirts like that. They may not have my size. All of this, you got to get into the consumer's head, right? You got to think like them. You got to think like ahead of time. You have to kind of set yourself up to imagine what are possible pitfalls. What could slow down your sales? And sometimes having a long line discourages people because they might They may have, the set just ended. They like, yo, man, Brandon will be back there selling his books and CDs. Make sure y'all support him. And then you had to run to the bathroom, or your homegirl did, and you had to like go to the bathroom with her in solidarity. You feel me? And so when y'all come out the bathroom, it's a super long line. You're like, dang, girl, we gotta get back home. And now you're like, dang, you know what I'm saying? And so, but as an artist, if that line is moving along, they may look over like, nah, the line moving kind of fast. I'm gonna wait it out. And so that's important that you keep that moving. And so the average transaction time when I work with somebody is anywhere from 45 seconds to a minute and a half. Like literally, folks walk up, yo, man, you killed that. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You want to get a book? Well, how much is the book? Well, this book is $25. This one's $30, and this T-shirt is $25. If you get 2 items, we'll give you a discount, like 5 off. If you get 3 items, we'll give you 10 off. And then they're like, okay. Then they're kind of flicking through. By that time, they've decided. Like as they're looking at the 3 items, they see it's only 3 items here. As I'm telling them in their head, they're putting the price of what I just told them to the item. They're like, okay, 25, 30, 25. What do I really want? And by that time, they've decided. You know why? They've decided because they heard me mention the book when I got on stage before I started. They heard me mention the book before I got off stage. So they probably already know, if they were really paying attention, they already know which book is which. They know how much it costs too. So when I get to the table, it's just a reminder, right? And so by the time I'm talking to them and telling them, oh yeah, this one's 25, this one's 30, and this one's 25 as well. And if you get more than one, we give you a discount. Then they're like, let me get the red one. All right, cool. And then I pull out my card swiper. We swipe him on up. Transaction done. I grab a pen. How do you spell your name? I'm signing it. I'm already doing that. All right, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to sign every book. That's just what I'm going to do. And you still get people who aren't paying attention. They like in their phone, they're like, yeah, and sign it too. I'd be like, how do you spell your name? That's the first thing I say. How do you spell your name? That way I spell it correctly. And another thing I do, here's a quick tip. Anytime I'm selling merch, I will always say, if they like, oh, let me just get one book, I'll be like, okay. Or they say, let me get this book, right? Specifically. I pay attention as I'm doing it. So they'll be like, I'm going to just get this one with the flowers in your beard. All right, cool. Do you want 1 or 2? And I'll say that as I'm signing the book, as I start to sign the book. Do you want 1 or 2? Because when I start to sign it, I put, from Brandon Alexander Williams to, and then I write their name last, So I start to sign it, and I'm like, do you want 1 or 2? And then they think about it. And all that is just like the power of suggestion, right? I want to say I usually have like a 20% conversion on that. Like if I ask 10 people, 2 of them will be like, yeah, let me get 2. I'm going to buy one for my friend. Or, yeah, let me get another one because I don't want to have to share mine with my sister. She always be taking my books. Boom. Now you just turned a $25 sale into a $50 sale. Or you turn a 30 into a 60. Really 55 and 45, right? Because you're giving them a discount. Boom. You see how they go? And so same thing with shirts. It's always some type of upsell. And you get them in the habit of thinking, now you're changing it from you're buying something that you want transaction to in the mind, you're planting the seed in the mind of the consumer that you're no longer buying something for yourself. You're buying something for a friend, for a family member. So now you're giving, and I'm helping you be able to do that. I'm helping you be able to give a gift, and that they would appreciate it because if they, I'm gonna get this for my sister. She couldn't make it to the open mic. She couldn't find a babysitter. You know what I'm saying? All these different things. These are things that people have said to me before. I'm not just like freestyling from the top of my head. And so, once again, when you got your menu set, people can order quickly. What you don't want is to go back to the restaurant metaphor. You don't want people sitting at your table for minutes on end and they haven't made an order. And one of the reasons that they haven't is because your menu's too long, right? Or because you don't have one at all. And you sitting over here talking about, I can make whatever you want to make. And that, even though that sounds great, people don't want that. Because like I say, that just gives somebody a job. There was a line in here where I said, don't walk up to my table talking about I can make whatever you want or got a taste for. Bro, you just gave the customer a job that they ain't even getting paid for. Like, when you say to someone, I can make whatever you want, that's kind of like passing the ball to them. If they just asked you, what food do you have and how much does it cost? At that point, you should hand them the menu, right? You should really already be handing them a menu when they sit down at your table. Excuse me. You should already be handing them a menu when they sit down at your table. But when you push the ball back to them, like, I can make whatever you want, we're not impressed by that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it sounds like, oh my goodness, he can make whatever. No. Because we still got to go through the process of choosing what should be made. And ultimately, when it comes to restaurants, chefs are in charge of the menu. You know, chefs get in the kitchen and experiment and be like, oh, this is going to be fire or this not going to be fire. And then they give it to the sous chef and all the other chefs in the kitchen and they teach them how to make it so that they can like duplicate what that is. And so the main chef don't really they just be in the kitchen like supervising, like, no, that's a bogus batch. No, you did that wrong. Throw that out, you know, because they want to make sure that it represents the restaurant good. So while you putting your menu together, you know what I'm saying, and you cooking, you want to make sure as an artist, there we go, as an artist, you want to make sure that your menu is on point and that it's described well and it describes you well and that your appropriate prices on there, and you want to make sure that your food is fire. So if your menu say 20-minute feature set, you want to make sure that you give a 20-minute feature set. So when people see you, they like, we got to book him again. We got to book her again. They toe that up. You know what I'm saying? And so, what else did I say? Then I said in the line right after that, I say, why they got to you just gave the customer a job they ain't even getting paid for. Why they got to rearrange for? We want the finished package. Don't nickel and dime us to death to get it cracking. So like you done been in spots where it's like, how much is this item? And it's like, oh, that's $5. And it's like, all right, let me get that with cheese. Cheese is extra. That's the most annoying thing ever. It's like, oh, this extra. Just give me a full price. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, you done bought an $8 burger that started off as $5 because they're like, well, cheese is extra, lettuce extra, tomato extra. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, ugh. Like, why don't you just make the burger $8? Like, including any toppings that you want. And some people still don't have that figured out. That's why you still got restaurants that what I call nickel and dime people. It's like add on, extra charge. And it's like, no. Be confident in your product. Give it the price that it is and let people choose it or not choose it. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing as far as confidence in your product goes, right? And so a lot of these things come back full circle, and I hit on the different points when I talk about the purpose of having a menu, what it says about you as an artist. It says that you're confident. It says that you thought this out beforehand. It says that you care. It says that and that confidence speaks volumes, right? Because if you're confident in what you're making and what you're serving and what you're performing, like that not only is entertaining, but it keeps in the mind of the people watching that could be potential vertical networkers or lateral networkers that this person's serious about their craft. I want to book them. They're serious about their craft. I want to hire them for something. I want to work with them. And that's how you get bookings continuing to come in. So it comes full circle. Having a menu is much bigger than, getting people in and out of your restaurant. It's bigger than that. To be able to get people in and out of your restaurant, you have to have a good product. And you got to be able to serve it well. You know what I'm saying? It has to be packaged well. What did I say? Also said, don't put I said you got to make it easy access. Don't put that well thought out, dope ass product in a measly package. A lot of times we take our time recording and writing poems and then we deliver it bogus. Or, we got a bunch of dope poems, but we don't know what order to put it in. We don't know how to curate our show. And so akin to a chef, that's where you get a DJ, or you get a producer. You get somebody who's produced poetry shows before. They listen to your poems, they be like, Or they could tell you, if they've seen you before, they be like, you know what, based off your set, everybody really loved this poem, so you should probably do that last. And then to come out, you should do this joint, and then you should follow with that one. You should talk a little bit, tell a story, and then go back into this one. And that should be your feature set. So sometimes artists don't know how to kind of arrange or create a performance menu, right? So there we go. Boom. 3 types of menus that artists need. You need a booking menu. You need a performance menu, and that's just for you to know, right? Nobody else needs to know that. And then you need a merchandise menu. So the first menu is going to be when people want to book you, what are the 3 different ways, amounts of time that they can book you for? 15-minute set, 40-minute set, 90-minute set, including the workshop. And then for your personal menu is when you do your feature set. All right, boom, if I'm doing 20 minutes, I'm going to do 3 poems and I'm going to talk. If I'm doing 40 minutes, I'm going to do 6 poems, and then I'm going to talk. But you know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell a story so that it's like smooth and cohesive. I'm not going to just do poem back to back to back to back, because you're going to have a long night, especially if your poems are just 3 minutes only. And then you want to have a menu when it comes to your merchandise table. So when people come through and they decide that they want to purchase something, they can decide quickly, simply because they're looking at your table and they see your menu is already set. And so I always have my menu. Guess what else I have on my menu that you should have? I have my QR code for Cash App. When it comes to different, cash taking services, Cash App is pretty much like the most common one. I do have a Venmo, I do have a PayPal, I do have Zelle, right? However, Cash App is like the quickest one. Some people prefer Zelle because, there's no charge and it's instant, and that's cool. However, I don't have a QR code for Zelle. I'm going to research if they do have one, but either way, they should eventually get one. But I do have those options all available on my menu. I let them know I have all of these, but 9 times out of 10, they just do Cash App because it's quicker, or they'll do cash, or they'll just do the credit card swipe. And so menus, man. Artists, so the top 3 menus that artists should always have is you should have your booking menu, you should have your performance menu, and your merchandise menu. And as long as you have these 3 in order and intact, you're going to always do well, whether you're just performing at an open mic or if you have a full feature set. This has been episode 37 of the UnStarving Artist. I'm your host, Brandon Alexander Williams. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you check out moderndaygriot.net and check out the different classes and merchandise that I offer. I'm also on Skillshare. You can search my name on there, Brandon Alexander Williams. Skillshare is a dope service that I've had a membership for about a year, and it's a library full of experts teaching different skills that they have, anywhere from cooking all the way to how to write a 16-bar rap. So you can check out my course on there. It's free. It's called How to Write a 16-Bar Rap. And also, if you want a discount code to try a month free, go ahead and hit me up on Twitter at Modern Day Griot, MODERNDAYGRIOT. Peace.